So, hello everyone. I'm here in Gabon with Jessie. We just finished 10 days Iboga initiation with the Simba Fang village, which is a part of Bwiti culture. And yeah, Jessie was one of the members who were inspired me with his personality and character. He was so authentic and he was telling the stories of his life, and I was like, wow, I want to interview him. And he has a lot to share, and he have been into many challenging situation in his life. And yeah, I'm happy that he accepted my invitation, and we are going to have an interview together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was born in a very small town up in northern Canada. My parents, who are still together to this day, um, um, we lived in like a little tiny village, like 200 people, and I had a sister and a brother.
You're the
Um,
last one?
I'm the first one.
First one.
I'm the first one. I'm the first born out of the next generation. I don't have any cousins older than me. I'm the very first born. And yeah, I had a really beautiful upbringing. Grew up in nature, bears, porcupines, deer, moose, fishing, and yeah, my parents very lovely, got along, never fought, and we had a really amazing life. I had some sexual trauma, not physically, but I had a babysitter read me a Karma Sutra book when I was really young, and that caused me to go out and act on that. And my parents were accused of raping me because I got caught, and they were like, well, how does he know this? So, at a very young age, I had some trauma based around, that, and being in a very small town, everybody talks, everybody knows,
Oh,
and I wasn't able to have like a proper childhood. I
okay.
wasn't able to hang out with a lot of the kids because I was
Oh,
a problem child,
oh,
and so that caused me to start acting out.
oh.
And then very loud, very hyper, and acting out and doing crazy things.
Okay.
And we moved a lot. My dad was always trying to get better jobs, to provide for the family, which was awesome. We moved down into the lower area of BC, Vancouver Island, and from there my dad would go to camp to make better money. So I was kind of left without my dad for quite a while when I was young, and that really affected me as well too. Still acting out, and then my mom didn't have the masculine around to discipline me, so I kind of like ran the show, and it just caused a lot of behavioral issues.
I realized the volume level is not high enough. Let me
Okay.
increase it. Don't forget your.
And yeah, in Campbell River, I had a really beautiful life. I was involved in Boy Scouts and it's called Junior Forest Wardens, so learning how to survive in the wild, and, build fires from scratch, and lean-tos to survive, and we have cool group campouts, and then I was always into girls, and it caused me a lot of issue because I was not supposed to be that kind of active when I was that young. And we moved to another place called Port Hardy, and from there, I was not really fitting in because the way that my life was, I was kind of like an outcast. I was like, maybe like we call like a geek, because I was like a forest boy, and I wasn't cool. I wasn't listening to the hip music or dressing the right way, so I wanted to fit in, and so I started changing who I was, and got into like smoking marijuana and drinking and hanging out with the wrong kids, just trying to fit in, wearing different clothes, and I stopped going into Boy Scouts, and then we moved again. We moved quite frequently and every time I moved, I would just reinvent myself. So when I moved to a place called Queen Charlotte's, again, very small, it was like a couple thousand people. It was even smaller, and I based my identity on being a pothead. I thought I was cool, so I was a pot smoker and
Pop,
pot
pot.
marijuana,
Uh-huh.
and I got a lot of the kids my age into smoking marijuana, and then I turned 14, and in Canada, well, at least in BC, 14 was the age of you were able to start working. So I went and got a job, and I started working right away, and I was making good money, and
You didn't like to go to school.
I didn't like to go to school.
Okay.
No, school. It's not that I didn't like going to school. It's just that school wasn't very challenging. It was just like sitting around, and like I was always like the best at everything if I applied myself, but I just didn't apply. I was too busy goofing off and flirting with the girls and smoking pot, skipping school.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we moved down to Campbell River, and I just continued that persona, and got into heavier drinking, women, drugs, making money, and I was a cook. That's what I did when I was 14, and I was really good at it. So I continued doing that, and that thrived. And yeah, I became this like very egotistical person. I didn't really have a conscience. I didn't really care about what my actions would do to other people. I would steal from people, lie to people. I just didn't really care. Whatever was going to get me what I wanted is what I would do to get it. And then yeah, so that progressed into my adulthood, and I had girlfriends. And I always liked having a long-term girlfriend. It was nice having a woman, but I also didn't like having just one woman, so I cheated on a lot of my girlfriends. Just kind of did what I want, partied, and just lived like a really destructive life,
When you were cheating, you were not honest to them.
No.
Okay.
I got caught, and then that's what got it for me. So and like drugs were kind of like a theme. But when I was 20, I kind of went sober for like 2 or 3 years, and it was nice. But again, the cheating still happened, and then I started drinking again and doing drugs, and then the relationship fell apart. And I met another girl, and I started dating her. But this one I was actually faithful to. I really loved her, but we got in a car crash, and that started my opiate addiction.
Car crash.
Car crash, yeah.
You lost her in car crash?
No. We just got really hurt.
Oh.
And then so they put you on the opiates, the pills, painkillers, and that started that. And then eventually they take you off the pills, and I'm still in pain. So we started using heroin, and that started my heroin addiction. And we were using coke and crack, and it's just, my life just started going downhill. I was doing really good in cooking. I did quite well. I was right in hospitals at one point, and and then I just went down to like working in pubs, and I would get camp work, but I wasn't going to hold it because of my addiction, and yeah, it was just really bad. And eventually I got sober. I met my daughter's mom, and
At what age?
I was 31.
31.
And then so yeah, that led me to become sober again. But every time I got sober, I didn't do the work. It was just, don't do drugs. It wasn't to heal the aspects that caused me to do drugs. It was just, don't do drugs. So that obviously caused my relationships to not be fruitful, and I was still making bad choices and being very egotistical. I was always get the car, and I had a baby, look at my baby, look at me, and look at, I got the job, and I'm out of status, right? And it just, it never made me feel good. I was like super depressed all the time.
Depressed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You were clean, but you were depressed.
Oh yeah. But I was on methadone, so like maintenance, so it's like to stop the withdrawals. And then I just started drinking again, and then that's what caused my daughter's mom to leave. That broke my heart, and then instead of getting better, I started doing drugs again, and became a heroin addict again after 2 years of being sober, and then that really went downhill, and that's when I lost everything. I was working at a 4-star restaurant. I ran it. The owner gave it to me because he saw how good I was, but I stole from them, and one day I just stopped showing up to work.
Wow.
And then so I was going to lose my place. I sold all my stuff for drug money, and then I ended up in Vancouver in a thing called recovery. So it's like sober living. A bunch of people get together, you go do meetings, and you support each other. And I was sober for about 35 days, and then I jumped on the transformer. I was like in a cocaine psychosis.
How old were you?
36 by then.
36. You
36.
jumped.
On a 230,000 volt transformer in Vancouver. I knocked out the power to half of Vancouver with my body. And then yeah, I was in a hospital for 4 months, full life support for quite a while. And the funny thing is like that didn't stop me from doing drugs. I was using cocaine in my hospital bed when I was at the rehabilitation center.
Wow.
And then yeah, again seeking out women to make me feel good, and relationship after relationship would fall apart. Tried it again with my daughter's mom, and that fell apart. And then yeah, eventually I got really honest about things, and that kind of worked for a bit. But then I went back on drugs, and then my daughter's mom took my daughter and said, like, you can't see her for a while, and that caused me to go even further downhill. And so I thought, I'm gonna go be a drug dealer then. And I ended up on the streets. I lost everything, and I was living in shelters, sleeping on the streets,
For how long?
selling drugs. I only ever lasted 4 months on the street, and then I would go into treatment. I get kicked out of treatment, and then I go on the streets, and then I go into recovery. And then that went well for a while. And then I met another girl in recovery and started dating her, and that fell apart. And I ended up back on drugs again. And again, like I said, the whole time it was just getting sober. I thought I found God at first, the Christian God. And I'm like, this will save me. And no, that didn't save me.
Didn't work.
Nah. Like, Christianity is beautiful. I love it, but it doesn't solve your problems. You gotta do the work yourself, right? It gives you good examples of how to live, but you gotta put the work in. God's not gonna do it for you, and then yeah, eventually I got sober again, and this time just really worked. Found another girl, but this time this girl was into like psychedelics for therapy. And I'd done a lot of psychedelics as a kid. I'd done a lot of acid, done a lot of mushrooms, always enjoyed it, always felt good, but I didn't know you could use it therapeutically. So I started reading books about it, I started microdosing, started doing therapeutic doses with like music and intention, and I started healing. And there's a documentary called Dosed, and there's a guy named Mark Howard in it, and it was about a woman that was on heroin and used mushrooms and Iboga to get herself clean. And my partner at the time was like, oh, you want to come watch this documentary? And yeah, sure. So I went to the premiere of it, and I watched the documentary, and it was beautiful, it was powerful. And I remember seeing Mark and all these other beautiful humans that, like I learned about up on stage, and I remember saying like, that's going to be my life. And I went down to Costa Rica. I think I watched the movie in like August, and there was a gentleman named Gary Cook that was part of the documentary and owns a retreat center down in Costa Rica called Iboga Wellness. And I was like, well, I want to do Iboga, but I don't really want to stay in Canada, because I want to go to Costa Rica and enjoy the beach and the warmth. And so I went down there and I did Iboga for the very first time, and it completely changed my life.
So the biggest step was Iboga to change you?
I don't know about it. It was one of the biggest tools that I used, but yeah, no, mushrooms therapeutically was the first part. Just meditation, reading, getting into spirituality. Just realizing how my mind works. And again, reading books about it, and just understanding like Stoic principles, spiritual philosophies.
Name some books that was influential.
Like the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. What's the other one? Epictetus wrote a book called The Manual. I wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Read Be Here Now by Ram Dass, the book by Alan Watts. Yeah, like quantum spirituality. And I read a bunch of like psychedelic books, like the Psychedelic Experience Handbook. I read some stuff by Timothy Leary. Like I just went all. I think I read 26 books that year that were like all about psychedelic spirituality and just like self help. And everything started clicking and then so yeah, I did the Iboga, and I'd been a chef for 23 years. Like I said, 14 is when I started, and then I was like, I can't be a chef anymore, and so I kind of had this little existential crisis of what am I going to do with my life? And I was going to go and try and be a Iboga provider, but COVID hit, so there was no travel, no planes, no nothing like that. So I didn't know what to do, you know, and I'd already sold all my stuff because I was just going to move to Costa Rica and volunteer and learn. And then Spirit had other plans for me. I did a mushroom ceremony, and in my mushroom ceremony, my intention was, what am I going to do with my life? And the mushroom said, you should create a microdose company. So I created a microdose company. And my microdose company did quite well at first. Which led to me working with the medicines and other aspects like farming. I became a farmer at one point. I learned how to grow mushrooms, and I started consulting, and I started knowing different farms, and I was being a broker, and that led into me getting microdose contracts for other companies and being a production company, and it's led into me owning several different businesses now. I have Odyssey Wellness, which is a safe supply for medicines for people. You know, I work with a couple different farms, a couple different dispensaries, and then yeah, this whole time really working in like the medicine community. So giving advice. You know, I did microdosing courses. I just learned everything you can about mushrooms, and so became a bit of an authority on it, so people would come to me and I would give advice, and it felt good, you know, being able to help people now. And the Iboga already called to me, so I was continuing to work as Iboga and, you know, trying to get training. And Mark Howard from the documentary, I knew a girl that knows him, so I got connected with him, and I was bugging him, and we became friends, and we started working together. And yeah, about 2 years ago, I started working with him doing ceremonies. And yeah, my businesses have done good. In 2022, I came to Gabon to do an initiation. I did a Masuko initiation, and that was beautiful and amazing, as well as also doing my men's rites of passage, which was very challenging, but also another beautiful way to show me how powerful that I am. And yeah, I've started working with Campbell as well too. I got certified as a Campbell practitioner, and in the last year, I started serving Bufo, working with an amazing and very talented girl in the States that serves Bufo and works with a psychiatrist, and he's been doing it for many years now. And yeah, I really developed my practice, and so that's what brought me here, is to continue my work with Iboga, to continue my development of my relationship with it, my understanding of it, and ultimately my understanding of myself and who I am and where I want to go and what I want to do with my life. And this last initiation was probably the most beautiful experience I've had with Iboga. Yeah, the village that we went to, we were very held and very supported, and there's a lot of involvement. It wasn't like my last initiation where we did a lot of sitting around and there was a lot of uncertainty. This was very well explained to us, and it brought me to a very deep level. And I've asked the medicine for the blessing to serve it. It said yes. I've talked to the papas and the mamas, and they've explained to me how I can serve it, which makes sense because it's kind of how I want to do it. Just working with the root bark, but also working with Campbell and Bufo in conjunction. It's like this holy trinity of medicine. So I have a lot of beautiful things to come back to Canada with, and yeah, I'm going to open up a practice to help people.
Can you explain more about Iboga? What is it and what does it?
So yeah, Iboga they call it an ornogenic. Ornogenic it means that it creates a dream state. It is I would call the Grandmaster. They talk about master paths, but I like to call Iboga the Grandmaster because it makes you more like you. I find a lot of the other medicines, they kind of take you out of yourself. They make you feel different. Whereas Iboga makes me feel more like me. It's very grounding. If you think about we're eating a root, it grows down into the ground and it goes into the darkness. It goes into the shadows, and that's where Iboga takes you. It takes you deep inside yourself to see the shadow aspects, to see what's not working for you, to see the blocks. With the other medicines, they're all kind of reaching up to the light, and they're kind of it takes you out, and it's like, whoa, it's this journey out of yourself, and it's very beneficial because you connect to universal love and understanding, and you can obviously see blocks as well too, and commune with spirit. But the way that Iboga for me is, it's very, like I said, earthbound. It's very much like a lucid dream. So you see yourself, you see nature, you see people in your life and your relationships, and you see what they call like that life review, all the things in your life that are holding you back. That like if you just make this choice, and it shows you these choices throughout your life where you've gone, potentially, I don't want to say wrong, but gone away from, maybe that pole star, we call it. That's like, this is where you want to be in life. And sometimes we take these detours, and it takes a long time to come back to your center. But Iboga allows you to bring yourself back into your center. It allows you to like declutter your brain. It brings a peace over your mind. Your thoughts aren't racing. You become very focused, which helps with manifestation. If you understand how magic works, magic is manifestation. It's the focusing of your mind on one thing instead of having your mind be scattered, thinking about what happened when you were 5, 10, 20 years old, the traumas that have affected you, holding on to these stories, or worrying about what am I going to do with my life in the future, and oh my God, is this going to happen, and it takes you out of this moment right now where we're at, this present moment. And that's how you manifest this, to be able to not think about or worry about what's going to happen, but to have this goal in mind, like a mission, a purpose. Like for me, I know I'm a healer. I know I'm going to have a center where people are going to be able to heal. This is like, there's no doubt in my mind. This is how I'm manifesting. This is how everything works out in my life, because I just 100% trust that me and God are in cahoots now. Like we are co-creating this reality for myself and for the people and for this whole world around me. This is a mission to help the world heal, to give people an opportunity to come into a container where they can be vulnerable, where they can feel safe, where they can open up, where they can see themselves, and where they can know who they are and what their truth is.
So you feel that life has given you a lot of opportunity or situation that you are satisfied with, and now your purpose is to help others. It's something which makes you happy, right?
Yeah. I think everyone's highest calling is to be of service.
At service.
They just haven't realized it yet, right? It's the co-creating with each other. It's the being a support for that person that's in need, and also being able to receive. That's a big thing too, like, because a lot of people, they want to help, but they don't know how to receive, and it needs to be a two-way street. The energies need to freely flow between. We're human. We have things that come up. We need love. We need support. We need help. And that's the thing. If we're all in service, then we can all also, rely on that service. We know that we're there to help, but there's also people there to help us, because we get stuck sometimes, and I've done so much work, and when I came to this Iboga retreat, I had some ideas. The ego, the mind tries to grasp onto what it thinks is going to happen, and then once you're in the moment, everything changes, because the moment is, like I said, that present moment is when everything happens. And then, for me, I had all these questions about what to remember and how to show up for myself, and ultimately, when it came down to it, my intention was, how do I harmonize everything that I already know? Because that's the thing, we already know. Everybody already knows exactly what they need in their life and what they want. They just sometimes need help remembering. And that's where the service comes in, is giving again that space to help you remember who you are. And it's that epiphany, that aha moment. You're like, yeah. And sometimes I just gotta laugh because it's so silly, because it's just so obvious.
So obvious, right?
And it's the illusion that our mind creates that we don't know. We're like, oh, I'm so lost. I'm like, no, you're not. You're right here. You're right here. And this whole time you've been here, and you've never been away from here, and you and God are one, and you have that connection always to the divine, and you just got to remember how to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compare yourself in the previous time, before psychedelics and after. What is your belief right now? What is spirituality for you now?
Well, I wasn't
How
spiritual before.
at all?
I was material, right? I identified with form.
With
Right?
form, yeah.
Yeah, so I identified with this world. And that's the thing, this world, to me, doesn't exist. Where it's like watching a TV show, right?
Right now.
It's a play that's happening, and it's going to be very short. Our lives are very short in the grand scheme. You know, if we're going to go by what scientists say, 13.8 billion years, this entire universe has existed. That's just this universe as well too. You know, I'm sure there was things before this universe, and we only have maybe 100 years. You know, it's like that. It's like a blink of an eye.
So you think a person needs a spirituality if there is an addiction, and how spirituality helps?
I wouldn't say need. Need is a very strong word, because people can get sober without spirituality. It's just hard. And again, you may live a sober life, but not a meaningful life. If you want to have meaning in your life, then yes, spirituality. You know, because you can go work the 9 to 5, get the job, get the car, get the girl, get the kids, and live that life, and a lot of people do, and they're satisfied with that. I'm not satisfied with that. I think there's so much more to life than just that. It's not just coming here to reproduce and get things and then die. It's to find the meaning in life, and that's what God is. God is creation, and it's the whole point is to create meaning, because it's all meaningless. It really is. Everything that you experience is a neutral experience. The only thing that happens is you judge it, right? So, and it's judged based off of cultural, societal. It's what your parents tell you, your school tells you, your friends, the TV, magazines. That's what tells you, and you attach to, oh yeah, okay, this is right and this is wrong. You know, like death in itself isn't wrong. Murder isn't wrong. We say it's wrong. 100, 200 years ago, murder wasn't that bad. We used to hang people in the square. Everyone would come together and and now we don't, right? So it just shows you right there, the fact that it changed says that it's meaningless, and that we're the ones saying, oh yeah, now, you know, hanging people in a square is bad. We don't do that anymore. So we gave that a bad meaning. Right? Like, oh, that's bad. But it's just a happening. All things are just happening, and it's what we're here to do, is to create, to co-create, to find meaning in the meaningless, and to create, you know, a beautiful life. And ultimately, for myself, it's about ascension. It's about liberation from my mind, understanding that yeah, my mind's been programmed a certain way, but I'm constantly reprogramming it. I don't have to listen to my mind. You don't have to listen to your mind. Nobody has to. It's not the authority on you. It is a tool. It would be like if your phone said, go jump off a bridge, and you're like, oh, okay. You know, it's the same thing. You don't listen to your phone every time it tells you something. You don't have to listen to your brain. It's the exact same. It's a tool to be used for you, and that's the creation thing. So like, it starts with the inspiration, the spark of God, turns into a thought. Your thought turns into words.
What is your message? What do you want to tell people? How do you wish people to be, for
I wish
example?
people to be the most authentic version of themselves.
You don't hide anything.
No, there's no point.
Was it your personality, or you gained this understanding that nothing should be hidden?
I attributed a lot to my upbringing. My mom was really good with us. She instilled a lot of confidence in us and gave us a lot of worth. And so I feel a lot of self-worth. Like, I know, I believe that everybody is here for a purpose, right? Whether they realize it or not in this life, that's their choice, right? My purpose is to help people wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah, and by just being me, I know that I do that. I hear it like all the time. People message me and they're like, "I was thinking about you, and what you said about this, or it really impacted me." And I'm like, I'm not trying to do that. That's the thing. So you don't need to try at all if you just be, right? And you're just, again, then it's natural. You're not forcing anything. You're just being that version of yourself. You're not trying to be somebody else's version. You're just doing what feels good for you. And if you do what feels good for you, you have that higher vibration, right? We just read that in the book about the smell, right? Like if you're in fear, just people don't want to be near you. You know, they can feel the energy, they can smell you on a subconscious level, and they. But when you're in this, people, you become this like a magnet, right? That's another thing about manifestation. When you, it's kind of like the planet, right? So the planet has a gravitational pull, right? And then the sun has a gravity. And the sun's greater than the planet, right? But you can, if we talk about like the different dimensions, it's like the different gravity wells that you create. And so we affect time and space, just like the earth does. And Einstein said it best. He took a blanket and he made it tight, and then you put a bowling ball. And that's what time and space does. That's what gravity looks like. It's this well, so when it'll go into it. And when you can raise your vibration, your toric field that comes off of your heart by opening if your heart's open, not closed, your aura is bigger, your field is bigger. And when that happens, when you have that mind, that clarity of mind, when you think about what you want, and you can't, like, I constantly think about having my place. And I don't think about it like, ooh, I hope I get, I'm like, this is what it's going to be like, and oh, it's going to be like this, and I feel it, and I live it, and I smell it, and I think about all the people that come and the energy. Like, I make that a reality, and then so that goes into that gravity well, and because it's such a big well, it just, things get stuck into and they come in. So I get these opportunities, and I get it. People just randomly bring me opportunities. You know, I got a buddy who's like, oh, we're gonna go look at properties in Belize. All right, cool, let's go do it. And I went and looked at properties in Belize. You know, and the things are just happening because you don't actually have to try. You just have to be.
Imagine.
Yeah, and it's such a like counterintuitive thing to do, to not try, because we're so taught that you gotta work hard. If you want to get anywhere in life, if you want to succeed, you gotta, like I said, go get the girl, go get the job, and it's like, no. You gotta focus on what makes you happy, because when you're happy, again, that raises your vibration, and then the things come and opportunities present themselves. And then when you have spiritual discernment, so like this form discernment, so it's like material things, like, oh yeah, I want this, I want that. But when you have spiritual discernment, when things come into your scope, you just know. You don't need to ask anybody. You don't need advice. You know, because it feels right, right? You tune into that. This is for me. You know, and it's not to say that you're not going to learn lessons, because it's life. Life still has challenges, you know, but you have to get to that point where when life does throw you challenges, it's like water off a duck's back, right? It just rolls. Okay, well, no, this is a challenging time. All right, I'm here for it. And, you know, I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to grow through it. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to create during it. And then it's just how it goes. Good things, bad things. The tide comes in, comes in, comes in. You don't get mad that the tide's coming in. You don't get mad that it's going out. You just go, oh, it's the tide. It's the weather. You don't get mad that it's raining. Well, people do, but what's the point of getting mad that it's raining? It's not going to change it. All it does is affects your energy level. If anything, be like, oh, it's raining, yay, and oh, it's really hot. Oh, okay, yeah, like, just enjoy it all.
I also like to know about your ideal form of relationship with women. What do you have tried many forms? Maybe open relationship.
I'm working on it. As of right now, yeah, I'm becoming monogamous. So I was pretty open for a while, and my partner played a lot, but I really want to focus on the feminine, masculine, and how this works within the medicine. I had a time. I learned a lot. It was beautiful. I had amazing experiences, very pleasurable experiences too. That's all fun. But it's like as I mature, things change, and I think that's a good lesson for people. Is that it doesn't need to be any one way. There's no right or wrong way to be sexual with people. As long as you're not hurting people or taking from people or lying, you're being transparent and you're expressing yourself in a healthy way. And yeah, even though it might be challenging sometimes, like it was with me and my partner, it also created opportunities for better communication and more evolution and just knowing myself more, right? So there's still desire there, but it's like right now I really want to explore the monogamy and supporting my partner through her journey. And she's going to come. We already talked about it. She's going to come back to the village this year. We're gonna make a plan, probably within like 6 months or so. Come back. She's going to do her initiation, and then we're going to work together as medicine people, because I think it's just a beautiful way for us to share our passions. She's been through a lot of hardship as well as myself, and together we can help people that are in hardship free themselves from whatever that looks like, and yeah, become free souls and better self-expressions of them, and just an authentic version that brings purpose and meaning into their life.
What is your advice to people who have lots of doubts and fear, and they don't know how to start spirituality, or people who are denying the spirituality?
Well, fear isn't real.
It's not real.
It's not real, right? So the only way to conquer your fears truly is to face them.
To face.
Yeah. So if it feels discomfort, that's the path. If there's resistance, that's the path. It's not going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. If it was easy, this world would be a beautiful place. It's very hard, right? And I don't lie to anybody. Iboga especially is going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done. It's really challenging to look at yourself. But if you want freedom, if you want growth, if you want to feel joy everlasting, then you have to go through the discomfort. You got to go through the messy. The only way to the other side is through. There is no bypassing. They talk about that spiritual bypassing, right? Oh, I do yoga, and drinking ayahuasca 40, 50 times. And their life is still the same, and they're still stuck. And they're better people than if they weren't. I'll give them that. Like I always say, I'd rather, my neighbor be someone that drank ayahuasca 50, 60 times than someone who's drinking booze, because that's a super lower vibration. But if you want true spiritual freedom, true spiritual meaning in your life, then yeah, you got to do the messy work. You got to really put yourself under the microscope. And then when you get the messages, you have to act on them. And that can be very challenging, because sometimes it's like break up with your partner. Sometimes it's like the job that you've been doing for the last 20 years is not for you, right? I was a chef for 23 years, and and I changed it. And I've listened to the medicine. And ultimately, when I say I listen to the medicine, it's my higher self. The medicine isn't the thing talking to you. The medicine is the bridge to yourself. It's the thing that gets rid of this and connects you to this and ultimately to God. And that's when you can understand the whole God's will, God's plan and the higher self and the higher plan. And that's the medicine. Again, it's just this beautiful bridge that gets you to that place. And the medicine is just the first step. You need to take the action. That's what integration is so important. Getting home and taking the actionable steps, making a plan of changing your life. Because if you don't make any changes, nothing's going to change. You go back to the same job, same friends, same environment, the same, habits. You're going to have the same results. It's not going to change. You have to make drastic changes if you want to have drastic changes.
There are a lot of people who hate religion and they are close to spirituality. Can you define what is the difference?
Well,
You don't
religion is rules.
rules
Yeah. Spirituality is a knowing.
is
A knowing, right? Like you don't need a Bible to tell you to be a good person. You don't need any of these texts, religious texts, I should say, because there's spiritual texts too. And not to say that there isn't good stuff. There's very beautiful messages. Jesus talks amazing stuff. Krishna, the Vedas, Buddhism, they all talk about very beautiful paths. But that's just what they are. They're a path that somebody took. It was their path. Now, taking from their path and applying it to your life, yes, but you don't necessarily need to live that direct path, right? For me, I take all the texts. I like to listen to them all. And what resonates with me, what works for me, I apply to my life. And it's funny because some of the stuff that I've experienced just through psychedelics and just being a human, I have a very good friend, Ankara, that has done a lot of work with Buddhism and is like incredibly smart, like very knowledgeable, lots of beautiful wisdom. And I'll talk about these different aspects, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's like the second philosophy in Buddhism." Right? So that's the thing. It's inherent within us. If you look, Jesus wasn't saying that his way is the right way. He was just saying that you also can do what he's doing and find your path. That's it. Like he says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Thine eye, the single eye, opening your third eye. He talks about all these aspects that you can find your own path, and then you can become your own healer. You're the only one that can heal you. Nobody else can heal you. They can kind of point you in a direction, but you've got to do the work, and you've got to figure it out for yourself. And when it comes to like religion, the dogmatic part of it, like I said, like you can't do this and you can't do that. And God doesn't do that. It doesn't make sense. God doesn't create this and then go, if you don't follow these rules, I'm going to banish you to a lake of fire and cast you away from my love. God is pure love. God would never do that. I can't believe any religion would ever say that God would put his back on you, and this whole aspect of not being worthy of God's love. That's like saying that my kid's not worthy of my love when I gave birth to them. That's your kid, that's your responsibility. God has a responsibility to us, and the beautiful thing is that's who we are. If we came from God, then that's who we are. Therefore, it's us. We have a responsibility to us to take care of each other, to take care of ourselves, and God does that through us. It's not some dude in the sky going, oh yeah, I'm going to make this happen for you. You make it happen for you. Through action, through right action. And that's, but you also have to know that like God, the plan of everything that's here for you is there to serve your purpose, right? It's the amor fati, love your fate. The things that may seem difficult and hard in your life are there to make you grow, to involve you, to help you create a better life, to give you meaning, to give you understanding, to help you with acceptance and forgiveness and all aspects of God.
I'd like to know about your opinion about alcohol.
Alcohol? Yeah, alcohol is what alcohol is. It's a depressant, so it's like saying, like heroin. Like like heroin isn't bad itself. It's abuse of heroin that's bad. Alcohol in and itself is not bad. I don't look at it as a bad thing. I personally don't like it because of how it makes me feel. So some people, it works for them. And some people have control, but I think the mass majority of people use it as a crutch. They get off work and they've had a hard day, and what do? They use alcohol to cope with that day. That means that you're not learning how to deal with your own emotions. You're not learning how to regulate your own nervous system. You're using something outside of yourself to make you feel better, right? Now, if you go into a wedding and you're having a good time and you have a few drinks, that's beautiful. It's a celebration. Enjoy, have fun, But if you're using it every day or every weekend, or you're using it to cope with your feelings, then yeah, it's not a good idea, right? And it's just like heroin. Heroin is an opiate, right? And if you get in a car crash and you have a broken back, yeah, use painkillers. You shouldn't have to suffer like that. God created these things to be used with intent. And if you have intention behind any substance, even mushrooms can be abused. People will do them and they're just partying with them. And again, nothing wrong with that. But you can also like heal and learn and grow with them. So it's, how are you using them? Do you have a healthy relationship to them or not? Right? Marijuana, for example. I have a very unhealthy relationship with marijuana for a long time, and I've been back and forth with it. Now I'm just like, me and her, she's beautiful. Maybe once in a blue moon, if I'm like getting a little bit of a healing session and the lady's working and she takes a little bit, I'll tune into that energy to let the flow work. But I'm not going to use it without like really, really, really good intention. It should be like ceremonial for me, And that's kind of like the alcohol thing, like I said, if you're at a wedding, that's like a ceremony. But don't get hammered, don't, fall. Have a couple drinks, feel good,
Do you have also right now an addictional behavior? Are you addicted to something?
I would say no, because to me addiction is something that negatively affects my life. And there's nothing anymore in my life that negatively affects my life. Yeah. So even the marijuana, it wasn't like an addiction. It wasn't negatively affecting my life. I would use it at night only to help me get to sleep. But I did find that it just makes me feel stupid. Right? So I was like, I had an unhealthy relationship to it. I wouldn't call it an addiction. Addiction's a very strong word. Right? It's like destroying your life. Right? So
I want to know about your opinion about eating meat.
Yeah, so we've talked about this.
Yeah.
And so I actually had a conversation with Iboga about well, we were having a conversation about Iboga at first. I don't know if you heard the ringing in your ear when you were super high.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that noise? And Iboga's like, oh, hey, that's me. And when we take Iboga is what it said is one of the highest vibrational plants that you can take. It's got like the highest frequency. Right? And that's why it works so well within us. And then it continued to talk about all the other plant medicines, and as well as other like heroin. It's a low frequency. It lowers your frequency instead of raising it. And then it started talking about the food, and it went in to say like, if you're going to eat meat, you want to eat meat that has a good vibration. So happy meat. So meat that has been free to roam pastures, and in its natural environment, sunshine and rain, and it gets to play with each other and see other wildlife and then ethically killed, so it's not suffering in the end, and no chemicals ideally in the meat, no hormones, no antibiotics, You don't need to be feeding it different grains. Just let it eat its natural diet because it's natural. And I personally believe that everything is food for everything here on Earth, right? It doesn't matter. Everything dies. Everything gets eaten. There's animals out there eating meat. There's animals out there eating plants, and there's animals out there that eat both. I see humans as something that eats both. It's the same with vegetables, though. Be careful of the vegetables that you're eating. If you're buying stuff from China, maybe not the best idea. They don't have very good conditions over there. The workers aren't paid very much. These are miserable people that are barely surviving, and so that energy is going into your food. So it's like ideally, if you can, I believe the best diet would be to eat within the local radius of where you are, and going and knowing all the food vendors, whether it be meat or fruit or vegetables or whatever it is, knowing where it comes from, seeing the land, connecting to it, so you have that connection, and just it brings a better vibration into your being. It's going to raise that vibration instead of lowering it.
Happy meat.
Happy meat and happy plants.
Happy plants.
Happy food.
Happy
right?
food.
So
Organic.
high vibing
bio.
food. High vibing food. Yeah.
So you believe there is a vibration in food?
100%. It has to be. Everything is vibration. Right? This is vibration. It's just slow vibration. It's solid, right? Right? The water you drink too. If you're drinking city water, it's got chlorine in it. Probably not the best for you. If you go to the spring water, you get it out of the earth, you collect it yourself, you connect. I'll have water ceremonies. I go to the spring and I talk to the spring. I introduce myself to the spring, and then I sing songs. I have a water playlist that I put on, and I play the music, and then I collect them. I say thank you, and we call it living water. The water is now activated. When you drink it, it raises your vibration.
Really?
Yeah. So ultimately, collecting your own food is the best. Like foraging mushrooms, berries, seafood. It's you doing it. You have that connection to it, right?
It has your frequency.
It's your vibration, exactly. It's kind of like at the village, we were told not to touch each other. Why? Because the vibration, the energy passes through. Well, think about it. If your food is being touched by all these people, what if your food's being touched by some guy that's murdered somebody, and he's like so much guilt, and he's touching that guilt gets put in. Oh, right? You just don't know. So,
and you feel bad and depressed.
Yeah, where does it all come from, right? We're like tuning forks, right? So that's what I mean by the vibration, the tuning fork. So the things that we bring in, it's the Plum Village Thai Nhat Mat, I think his name is, the little Buddhist, the cup of tea. He talks about mindful consumption. Everything from the music you listen to. So music, be careful with the music you listen to. If you're listening to
very good point.
Produced stuff, or you're listening to self-produced, local bands, the TV that you're watching, the movies you're watching, even the smells in your house. Are you using Febreze? What kind of laundry detergent are you wearing? The clothes that you're wearing, is it Chinese clothes, or are you buying like hippie cotton clothes, it all has vibration, and it all affects you. Maybe not noticeable, but over time it can build up, right? So, and I'd rather be mindful about things than not, ideally.
I had a good question from you. I pause it. Okay. Do you have social media, or did you had?
I used to have it. Yeah.
Why you're not anymore?
Technically, I still do have it. Well, I know myself, and I know that if I have social media, I'll get sucked in. I like the shorts. I like to laugh. I like to get into that, right? It's just it's mind numbing, and it's programming you. It's like I downloaded my Instagram and I had it for 2 days. I don't know, a month or two ago, and like it was like ADHD and autism, and it's like everybody's identifying with all these mental health issues, and it's like everybody has some ADHD, everybody has some autism, everybody, and it gets these people to like identify with mental health instead of like realizing who they actually are. Oh, I have autism and I have this, and they go around and they speak like, oh, I'm this and I am that, and oh, I'm complex PTSD, and it's like, yeah, like, yeah, these are things that has been identified by, which is also a pseudoscience. Psychology is a pseudoscience because you can't prove. There's no actual test. What happens is a man reads a book, DSM. He listens to your problems and he goes, "I think you got this." There's no test. There's no like definitive test going, "Oh, you definitely have ADHD." There's no physiological test. It is all guessed basically. And it's interesting because you can go to one psychiatrist and he'll diagnose you with complex PTSD, and the next one will call you bipolar, and the next one will say you got borderline personality disorder.
And you believe it.
And
you act on it.
And then you use it as an excuse to be a victim.
Uh-huh.
Because it's a victim mentality when you say, "Oh, well, I have this.
Uh-huh.
This is why I am like this."
Yeah.
Instead of taking responsibility and going like, all these mental health issues are caused by traumas and blocks. So what causes them? We're blank slates when we come here. You're not born ADHD. You're not born with autism. That's why it's like something happens, right? So whether that be, like, your parents beat you or something like that. Well, now you have, borderline personality disorder.
So you mean every sickness or mental issues come from a trauma?
Not everyone, because like schizophrenia, that's a real thing, right? Like you can't but to me, like schizophrenia, that is a superpower. It's misunderstood. I believe that they just have more 5-MeO-DMT flowing in their body, and they see the different realms. And I've been there. I've been in psychosis. I have experienced it, and there's more. Once you get into psychedelics, you'll understand. There's so much more. I've seen so many different realms and dimensions and universes that I can go on for like months with the stories that I've been. Because I used to have a ketamine addiction, and I traveled the multiverse.
How do you believe that it's not your mind creating this, and it's like
it
reality?
Definitely is your mind creating this. Your mind's creating this right now too. That's exactly what it is. This is all just information, right? This is all light information that our brain's receiving. We know this to be true, right? Like quantum mechanics and physics talks about this. So like this isn't green. The light is hitting these atoms, and it's refracting what we perceive as the color green. Now, dogs have 2 color cones. We have 3 color cones. Did you know that pigeons have 4 color cones? Mm-hmm. Pigeons get a whole nother spectrum of color.
Wow.
Bees see infrared. They don't see. This whole world looks different to them. And their little tiny brains create their reality. Right? So that's the thing. We're co-creating this all. We agree, like, yeah, this is a tree trunk. And we'll say that's, we'll say this, like, this is green, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if I was to go into your brain that this would actually be green. You were told this was green from birth. You might see it as a different color, but we agree that it's green because we're told that it's green. So it's not real, it's an agreement.
So we believe everything that our mind can imagine can create too.
I believe it's possible, yes. Can we get there? Yeah, there's been lots of mystics have talked about like levitation. if you look at the CIA files, there's remote viewing, like the things that they can do with your brain, psychic abilities. Like there's so much more that has been suppressed for so long that's really starting to come out now, right? So we're becoming more powerful, you know. And but yeah, like I said, like it's all in our minds. This what we're seeing right now is a projection, because the information comes in and our brain makes a projection within ourselves. It seems like it's outside of ourselves, but it's not. It's just a perspective, right? So I don't see myself as moving through this world, like my arm's moving right now, but it's just information being transferred to my receiver saying that there's emotion. Time doesn't exist. Everything is flowing through me. I'm not moving through life. Life is flowing through me. I'm a stationary being, and I have the illusion of movement. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it's like if you drop a rock into the water, the ripples, they look like they're moving out, but it's just an up and down. It's not actually moving, it's just up and down.
So you see yourself as a god watching this visual reality.
Well, I see myself as you. I see myself as number 6, 7, or 5, 4, 1. I see myself as Yaya. I see myself as Intercell. I see myself as the earth, the tree. It's all just us, right? It's like a radio station, right? It's just one radio station, but you can listen to different frequencies. It's still coming out of the same radio station. It's just, this is a different song. You're just a different song. You're just a different frequency being played on the God radio, right? And you get to tune into that, right? But ultimately, it's the source. It's like the trees, right? The leaves. Is that leaf the tree?
No.
Pardon?
Part of tree.
Well, it is the tree. Because what's the tree then? Tell me what the tree is.
Yeah.
The tree is the leaf, because the leaf is part of the tree, and you're like the leaf, right? This is all of it is God, and they're just different aspects. That's all, right? So makes me feel at peace, and infinite, like the infinity of it also brings me peace. A lot of people get weird about it. I'm like, oh, it's so amazing because I am immortal. And then when I say that I don't mean my body. My body is earthly. My mind, my brain is earthly. It's gonna die, and then it'll go back into the earth, and it'll be recycled and reused, and the nutrients and the carbon atoms and the water and all that stuff. Like, think about it. Every time you're drinking water, you're drinking what has been people. Because we're made up of 80-90% water. So every one of those molecules has been inside, maybe like Abraham Lincoln or Gandhi or Jesus. Like, because the water's just been around forever. That one molecule could be a part. It could have been in Jesus's eye, and you're drinking that, or right? If you think about it.
Psychedelics gave you, and books give you this insights. Yeah. What are books that you're studying now? What is your interest and focus now?
So I have a bunch on the go right now. I'm reading a bunch of Michael Singer stuff. Michael Singer is a spiritual teacher from Florida, and he's has the Temple of the Universe down there. And the way that he explains things is very raw, very blunt, and very to the point. And to me, I really like that. Because he's like, you're the problem, right? It's like, you're the one that's doing this all. You think that you know better than nature and the universe and God, and that things should be your way, and that's what causes so much suffering, is You're basically your ideas that things aren't working out. When things are working out, you're just the one getting in the way of them working out for you, because you have a preconceived notion of how things are. And it's because you're not okay, because things have happened. So I'll call them samskaras, which are your traumas. So things have happened in your life. You haven't dealt with them, and they're what influences you. So the more you can work through your traumas and release them, the less triggered you are. Life won't trigger you anymore. And that's the thing. If you're not triggered by life, then you just let life flow. And you're happy. Whether, again, it be a perceived bad thing. Oh, like my car broke down. All right, whatever. Your car broke down. Cars break down. You accept nature for what it is. Yeah, I'm also reading the Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. It's based off the I Ching, which is an old Chinese text about the 64 archetypes that human beings are, as well as human design, astrology, and just a lot of other spiritual texts. And it goes through each gene key is based off of one of the hexagrams, and it goes through your shadow frequency, your gift frequency, and your acidic frequency, which is like the highest state. What else am I reading? I don't know. I got a bunch of stuff.
And you think this, like, you believe in astrology and human design? What they do for you?
Got value. I think it helps because, like, if you look at how things are created, the gravitational pull of things helps form planetary bodies. And you look at the moon and how it affects the tides. And those energies, they have an effect. And do I put all my eggs in one basket? No. I think they're beautiful aspects to help us deeply understand, again, aspects of ourselves, right? So, are they an authority? I don't know. I'm not like reading my horoscope and then, but horoscope it just talks about energies. And it gives you just like a sense of certain energies, and then from there you can create with that, right? And everything that you do, it has to do with your belief. So if you believe it affects you, 100% it's going to affect you, right? It's like karma. Karma doesn't exist. There's no such thing as like karmic debt that you got to repay. If you believe it, then you're going to be affected by it. I believe in God's grace, that we're, living in God's grace, and that, if you wake up, then you're forgiven for your sins, for all the things that you've done. And then you naturally, once you wake up and you connect to God and you connect to your true self, to your soul, to that higher aspect, then you naturally love yourself more. You trust yourself more. And when you love and trust yourself more, you love others more, and you can trust others more. And that is this feedback loop of an upward spiral of vibration. And it exudes from you, and then you get the gifts of the spirit, which is like love, joy, patience. See if I can remember them all. Tenderheartedness, self-control. There's like two more. Anyways, you get these aspects of spirit, which is like you live in harmony with things. You see somebody in need, and you see yourself. So you want to help them, right? And you give. You don't hold on to the stuff that you have anymore. Whereas like when you're in those lower frequencies, you like, oh, I need to keep all my money. Like if people ask me for stuff, I always just give it to them. Unless it was going to affect me negatively or affect my family negatively, then why would I not? If I can, then I should. So I become, like Jesus, like you help. You go and you don't judge people, You don't want to, oh, I'm just going to go hang out with nothing but good people. Well, no, you hang around with people that need help. Jesus went and hung around with hookers and drunks, and why? Because that's the people that needed him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
You said as a child, I don't know, as or teenage, you were full of fears, and I see you now a fearless person. Maybe you also have some fears.
no,
You don't, and how? And you said you had a good upbringings. So, like childhood traumas could not really be important, or what is important? Should what should children know? What is a society and education? What is
children are suppressed.
are suppressed?
Yeah, they're told to not act out, to not be themselves, right? Because it doesn't fit into what the parents think is right. So their expression is stopped at certain levels. Not all kids, some kids are able to express themselves properly, but I see a lot of kids are not. And so what that does is that creates imbalance within themselves, and that projects out as anger, rage, insecurity, and because they're worried because they're taught about judgment. Oh, well, if you act this way, you're going to be judged, and then they're programmed to care about other people's opinions instead of not, because you shouldn't give a shit about other people's opinions. What should matter is, to feel good with you. I have 3 rules in life, and that's: does it hurt anybody? Does it take from anybody? And does it feel good in your heart? And if you get yeses all the way, then who gives a fuck? You shouldn't care about what other people think. It's none of their business. And if they do care, good for them. Does it affect you? No, not really. They can have all the opinions they want. It's only you that allows that opinion to affect you. Right? So like, oh, don't be silly. Well, no, I'm going to be silly. You can not like my silliness, but I'm going to be silly. I'm not hurting you. You're repressed is what's going on. And you weren't able to express yourself. So now you don't want people to express. It's like the hurt people hurt people. You're just passing on that ancestral trauma, right?
Explain your opinion about how education is like shaping children.
Yeah, it's education. The whole like dynamic of it is to go and sit, to be quiet, to be still, to listen to instruction. It's designed to create workers.
Workers.
Yeah. And now you don't need to go and get a formal education to be smart. If you just live life, you're going to learn everything. Yeah, the basics are good: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Other than that, you're going to learn everything through life. I barely went to school. I dropped out in grade 10. I went to college. I challenged the test. I got approved. I didn't even do college because it's stupid. Yeah, they just want workers. They want obedient people. I remember listening to this thing, and it said, you know why college degrees are so good? They don't care about what you learned in college. They want to see that you were able to do 5 years of listening and showing up on time. And that's what they want in an employee. Because everything usually gets trained on the job. They're going to train you in what they need done their way. It's not the college way. We had people come in and cooking from college school, and they get taught the proper technique, and they come in and they go, that's not the way to do it. And we're like, yeah, it's because this is the way we do it. There's the real way, and then there's the educational way. And I just don't believe that it takes away people's genius. It takes away their creativity. It takes away their spark. It just makes them, again, a dull worker. And for me, I was too big of an energy for that. I just fought that the whole way. Because there was no way I was going to adhere to their fucking cookie cutter way of being a human. And my daughter's experiencing the same thing. She hates school. She hates being still. She hates not enjoying herself and being free.
You never felt that other people went to university. You didn't feel like not confidence
There's
and challenges.
benefit. Yeah, there's benefit. Like, we need doctors. You can't just become a surgeon by going and cutting people open. Technically you can, because that's how we did it, but they don't let you do that. No, there's good things. Like, it's got benefits. I'm just saying, for the most part. But that's it. Like, school, ideally, what school should be is a place where you can just like freely express yourself, learn the basics, and not have to be. But you can learn the basics while being free. Like, they call it forest schools, where you're like out in nature and you're learning in nature and not stuck behind a desk. And then, if you're into medicine, all right, now you take that path. Okay, well, this is the path. Like, okay, you want to be architect, then all right, this is what you want. You want to get into grafting and the drawing part, and then yeah, you go and focus on that. Or you want to be a doctor, then yeah, okay, well, you learn about the body, and it can be done differently. But again, they're just creating workers. They want workers. We live in a society of capitalism, mass-produced material, and they need workers. They need a lot of workers for this world to work the way that it works, right? So, but it'd be cool because I see a lot of things happening with like AI, automation, which ideally will free up humanity to focus on what we enjoy more, our passions. You know, we have enough wealth in the world for everybody to live freely and enjoy themselves and express themselves. And people want to be doctors. People want to build buildings. People want to do these things. But when you're forced to do that to make ends meet, then people are miserable doing it. Right? Look at a lot of the buildings. It's like boxy buildings.
For example, in Germany, you see buildings. They all look the same because the good side is the city looks like a very kind of disciplined, and bad side, the architects have not much creativity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just doing it for a paycheck.
Exactly.
And that's it. They want you to rely on it. You need money. You make a paycheck. You gotta buy things.
Yeah.
They want workers.
Yeah.
They take all your money. They tax you. You barely get anything.
Are you a minimalist?
I'm a mediumist.
Mediumist. What is your opinion about consumption?
It's like part of the human experience. Right? You want to experience things, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I like buying gadgets. I like technology. It's fun, I like. I'm like, I was born in '82, so computers started coming out, and video games, and it's all fun, right? I don't really play video games myself, but yeah, like can I spend less? Probably. But I do, like, if I buy clothes, every time I buy clothes, I give my clothes. If I buy 5 shirts, then I give away 5 shirts. Right? So yeah. I have like a lot of crystals and like art to like dot my walls and stuff like that. But I don't know.
So we meet each other for the initiation, Iboga initiation in Gabon.
Yeah.
You were one of the most powerful people among us, and you were like not having low energy or pressure, and you were kind of a role model for me. Was it for you also a big challenge? What took you to have this initiation? What was your motivation?
Just I felt when I came for my last initiation, I didn't quite get what I was looking for.
2022.
Yeah, it wasn't really held. I didn't really feel like there's a lot of wisdom shared with
What
me.
you were seeking for that you didn't get?
I don't know. That's the question.
You didn't feel complete.
Yeah, exactly. Now I feel very complete, very grounded. And again, I'm going to continue to work with this medicine always, because for me, this medicine keeps allowing me to shed the layers.
What?
shed the layers, like shed aspects of myself that just don't need to be there, right? And this medicine is the best medicine for that. It teaches me in so many beautiful ways and shows me and connects me, and I love it, and I see the benefit of it, and for me, I want to work with this medicine, provide this medicine, because people get so much benefit from it. So for me, coming here was a lot about coming to ask the medicine if I can serve. It said yes, I got the blessing. I learned, deepening my relationship with it and my understanding, just clearing my mind so I can keep focusing on the wellness center. So this year is really going to be about that, coming back to Africa. And like I said, like I'm going to serve the medicine like the 3 scoops, but I'm also going to have Cambo and Bufo be involved with it. And it's going to be a way for people to meet Iboga. And if they want to deepen their relationship with Iboga, then they can join me on my African trip that I'll be coming to Africa hopefully every year.
And are you also thinking about opening a center for addiction?
Yeah, well, they'll be like we work with I work with a couple different people, so I'm never one to like just stay in one spot. I like experiencing different things. So yeah, there might be a chance for like an Iboga clinic as well too, and but yeah, we can like I want to work with people to get them to a point where they can come and sit with the medicine with me, and get off the medicines, and then from there they can choose what they want to do with their life.
Do you think that you need another initiation?
Not right now.
Okay.
Do I need like a large dose? Because you don't, with the Fang, you don't do another initiation. I might do other initiations with the Masuko, but they do things differently. So there's like levels, and they share secrets with you about stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So and like it's yeah. I'm open to experiencing different ways with the medicine, because the more that I can experience different ways with the medicine, the more I can create my own.